right, welcome everybody. This is going to be the weekly recap for our live chat room. Week ending on January 8th, 2021. So before we talk about our lesson today, the lesson today is going to be the secret to trading profits. All right, I'm going to reveal some things to you that you probably never heard before. So I really want you to pay attention. And I think you're going to find some really unique information here that's going to help you with your trading. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about our stats. Now, once again, you know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm a pattern-based trader. I do not use any type of indicators. Patterns I use, I call them behavioral patterns. I discovered behavioral patterns back in the late 80s. And that has never changed because this, I feel, is the best way to trade. And 99% of the people don't trade this way. That's why it's so successful. That being said, let's look at our naked stats. Now, we have a total of 5 different patterns that I talk about in the core strategy. We have more in the CB, but right now we're talking about strictly core. And one of those is called the PAP, which is one of the favorite for most all the subscribers. And so this is what I also call naked signals. So what does that mean? That means when a particular pattern develops to buy or sell, if you were to blindly just go in and buy or sell based on that particular pattern, these are the percentages of the win and the loss rates of those patterns. You can see without using any kind of filtration, which is something that we teach in our course, okay, which will improve on these percentages. But without any filtration, you can see right out of the gate with no experience, I'm going to help put the odds in your favor of the trade being a winning trade, all right? Also, you also know I've been talking a lot about trading just the Aussie and the yen. The yen's been the strongest. The Aussie has been the strongest. How do I know that? Because I constantly keep stats. I teach you how to do that as well, because you have to know, if you're going to be a short-term trader, you have to know what's hot and what is not hot right now. And Aussie and the US yen, the Aussie US and the US yen are the two that I've been focusing on for some time, and I will continue that into next week. But you can see, once again, look at the percentages. You can see they're very, very good here, right? So what happens with these particular type of behavioral patterns when they are hot in a particular pair, they continue to stay that way. That is huge, folks, because it tells me if they start to weaken up, I'll just move into a stronger pair, because I know if a pair becomes stronger percentage-wise, I know it's going to continue to stay that way, and that's where I want to be. All right? So, nonetheless, continue to stay with the Aussie and the US. You can see still in the morning and the evening, look at the Aussie, 82%, 90%. Yen is 83%, 81%. Euro's not too bad, being in the 70%, which is, in most cases, I'm expecting to be somewhere around 75%. That's usually the best you're going to get over a long-term period of time. But you're going to have weeks where you're going to see 80% and 90%, okay? Don't expect that every week. It's not reality. We're talking about the law of large numbers, and the law of large numbers tells me I'm probably going to be somewhere in about the 75% range. And why is that the best you're going to get long-term? Because there is a degree of noise in the market that you cannot predict. News events, those types of things, you cannot predict them. I can't predict them. Nobody can predict them. So you are going to have a degree of noise, right? So excluding the noise, that's about the best you're going to find as far as percentages. But we can do a lot with 75%. All right. So that being said, first trade out of the gate, little weak this week. On the first trades out of the gate, at least during the daytime, a little bit stronger in the evening. We've had 2 losing trades during the week for our first trade of the week. Actually, one of these particular trades actually would have actually turned out to be a winner, but I ended up taking the wrong strike, and I'm still going to show that because that's what I called out, and that's what I stick with. but it would have been much better than this. But nonetheless, it really doesn't matter because, once again, we are trading long term. I don't care about what happens on a weekly basis. I care about what happens on a, monthly and semi-monthly and semi-annual basis. I'm looking at large numbers here, folks. We're not looking at short little numbers. All right. It doesn't mean anything, right? So you look at something on the Aussie for the night, it had 3 trades, all winners. Okay. Does that mean that, 300%? No, absolutely not. Here's 300%. I want to see when I have 18 trades and I'm at 83%. Now we're talking about something, right? 11 trades, 91%, right? This is important, right? So we want to have more, we want to see more trades, right? And we want to see higher percentages. That's more important than a small sample size of only 3 trades and a high percentage, okay? And once again, just because something has a high percentage doesn't mean you guys are going to be successful. In fact, most of you, I hate to say it, are probably not going to make money because most of you will trade once or twice, have 2 losses, and then you'll be throwing in the towel, or you'll be looking to add in other filters, or you will miss some trades. This is reality, folks. I'm telling you like it is, all right? Been doing this for a long time. I've seen a lot of traders, and that's the most common thing is as soon as they have a couple losses, for some reason they think they need to be perfect in trading. And everything else in life, even though everything else in life is not perfect, for some reason people think they're going to be able to come in and trade, and they should all of a sudden be perfect in their trading, which is it just doesn't work that way. Okay, this is just like life, right? Everything is a bet, everything is a percentage, and nothing's 100%, right? So just like life, nothing is 100%. All right, so that being said, let's go to the CB. Now, here's the thing. I didn't trade very much. Let me tell you why. Because they forced me to go. Yes, they forced me to go to the new Nadex platform. And if you're familiar with the old platform, I really like the old platform, and the new platform is different. And I have to tell you, just like we talked about in the chat room, I have made multiple mistakes trying to get used to this new platform. So I decided not to trade too heavy because I have made mistakes this week when I wanted to sell and ended up buying, and or vice versa, or I wanted to sell and ended up selling more than I wanted to buy. And so I'm just kind of getting used to the platform. So if you're used to the old platform, you don't have a choice now. You have to go to the new platform. If you're not used to the new platform and you want to trade, if you're trading live, go light. Probably the same thing even if you're doing demo. I mean, just go light on your demo and then get into it. But I did not want to go too crazy because I already made a number of mistakes. I'm certainly not going to make mistakes when I'm trying to add size or anything like that, because that could have been a disaster. But getting better at it. You can see profits starting to pick up as I go into the end of the week, which means I'm getting more comfortable with this platform. So that's why I am where I am. But still, overall, not a bad week, right? Not a bad week at all. But still, probably we're going to continue to be cautious next week. Really want to get a really good feel for this new platform before I really start hitting it a little bit harder here. All right. So let's talk about the secret to trading profits. And is there a secret to trading profits? And there really is. And I want to go through that and explain kind of the logic behind it. So you will see that the secret to trading profits are what I call behavioral patterns. What are behavioral patterns? So let's go ahead and let's get into it. And let me pull up a chart and we can talk about it. Okay, so here we are, Aussie US, which is actually a 5-minute chart. We'll look at this 5-minute chart. But before we get into that, let's talk about what are behavioral patterns. Okay. Well, behavioral patterns are particular behaviors, okay, that are predictable, okay? We can predict people's behavior based on certain types of events, okay? In the case of trading, we're going to be able to see those events by the way that prices are plotted, okay? We see them in the price movement. But let me give you an example. What is an example of a predictable behavior? Okay, and we all know this, right? But have we really thought about it? And we want to do the same thing when it comes to trading. So what is predictable? Well, what is predictable is if you have a building, right, that's on fire, I can predict that majority of the people that if they're in the building are going to leave the building, right? We're not going to see a lot of people going in. We're going to see more people going out, right? So that is something that is highly predictable. Under certain events, people are going to do predictable things, and we can, and that's not going to change next week. It's not going to change next month. In 20 years, if they're in that building that's on fire, they're going to react the same way, because people act certain ways when they are faced with fear, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. When people are faced with fear, it's predictable what they're going to do. Well, these behaviors can also be represented in price movement, okay? But where? Okay, and I'm going to give you a clue. I'm not going to get into any specific ones. Those are the things that I teach in the core strategy, but I'm going to try to get you starting to look at prices a little bit differently here. Do your own research, and in time, you will find some of these, all right? But what we're looking for is we're looking for chart formations. You can use candlesticks. You can use regular bar charts, open, high, low, and close. Obviously, that's what I used before candlesticks. Candlesticks are really nothing different than what we used to look at way back when. It's just that they're nicer to take a look at because you can see the buying and selling strength. But we also were looking at that stuff way back when, even before that, because we always looked at the high and low relationship to the open. And that's kind of what you're seeing here, right? In the close, the open and the close based on the high and low. All right. So what you want to look for is, number one, is you want to look for events that don't happen very often. All right. So what does that mean? We want to find patterns that don't happen very often, because you see, patterns that don't happen very often are very predictable. Okay. They have a predictive value to them. So when something doesn't happen very often, that means that we look for those certain situations that don't happen very often, because we know around that is going to be some sort of predictable behavior. So let me just go into one very simple one. This is not one that I teach. This is not one that I don't even think you can use, but I'm just going to give you an example of something that doesn't happen very often. And then you can look for these. You can work around this and come up with a predictable behavior based on this particular type of setup. So here we are. Let's go over here. Let's look at the Aussie US. Once again, these are on 5 minutes. You can do these on dailies, whatever. And also, whatever you end up discovering, it should be the same in everything. It doesn't matter whether, you're in Australia or whether you're in the US or wherever you are. If the building's on fire, we're all going to be doing the same thing. So we should find the same thing in all the charts, right? That's the key to success. Not finding it just in having it work in the Aussie, and let's say it doesn't work in the yen, right? Or it doesn't work in the US dollar, or whatever the case may be. Should be pretty straightforward across the board, because people's behavior should be predictable under certain situations, and we should be able to see that in the chart formation. So coming back over here on the Aussie US 5 minutes, let's take a look at this over here where I'm kind of moving a little cursor over here. You see this little green bar, then you have that next little red bar. Now, we used to call these, you can call them whatever you want in candlesticks, but we used to call these inside bars, because what we were looking at is let's assume in other words, we're sitting at today. This is today. We're in the market today, right? This little bar right here never penetrated the prior day's high, right? So let's go into a drawing so you can see what I'm talking about. So today's high never penetrated the prior day's high, and today's low never penetrated the prior day low. We call these inside days because they're inside the high and low prices of the prior day. That's called an inside day. If you go in the chart, you will find out that you do not have a whole lot of inside days. It doesn't happen that often. So that's clue number one. We found something that doesn't happen very often. Okay, so now let's start looking at other things where we can come up with some predictive value. So what you may want to do is you may want to look at, okay, well, if the prior day was a green bar and yesterday was a green bar and today is an inside, right? An inside bar, what is the probability of the next bar being up? What is the probability of the next bar being down? That's what I'm talking about, okay? Once again, just an example. Don't ask me about these percentages because I don't use this pattern. I have much better patterns than this. But this gives you an idea of what you're going to look for. It could be something like this, a green bar, and then a red bar. Maybe a red bar that penetrates the low of 2 days ago. What are the probabilities that the bar after this, after it penetrates, that it's going to be an up bar the following day? Or once it penetrates, what is the probability it's going to keep going down? Those are the things that we want to look for, but you want to see that it doesn't happen that often. So say, how often does that happen? Well, it doesn't happen all that often. Now you start doing some research around it, all right, and see if you can come up with some predictive value based on that particular pattern, okay? These are what I call behavioral patterns. That's why these work, because an indicator, stochastic moving average, overbought, oversold, which doesn't even exist. There is no such thing as an overbought or oversold market, and oversold market would have to go down to zero. So maybe that would be oversold when it hits zero. But there is no really such thing as overbought and oversold. So you got to get a lot of the junk that people teach out of your mind. You got to stop using those damn indicators because 98% of people lose money. 98% of the people out there that are selling crap are using indicators. So folks, if you think about trading in a logical way, all right, that's my purpose here. That's why I started all this thing, is because people approach trading and they don't even know what they're doing. They just see an indicator that seems to work and they jump on it because somebody says it works, and they haven't really thought about why is that indicator even working? Okay, and is there anything true to divergent? Is there something true that it hit a Fibonacci number? All right, is there something true that if the dailies are going up and the weeklies are going up, and that means I can go ahead and I can buy just on the 5-minute bars? I mean, this is what I laugh, because people don't even think about what they're doing. They just get into things without even thinking about what they're trading. Behavioral patterns have a logic to it. They are repeatable. You can see them repeating over and over again. You can see them in different markets. Okay, that to me makes a lot more sense. I would rather predict that somebody's going to be running out of that building when it's on fire than I am going to try to predict to say, okay, so we've had a surge of new people coming into the building, so that means in the next hour I should see a ton of people coming out of that building, you know, like a stochastics or something, right? Does that make sense? No. And you know it doesn't make sense, all right? So what is the key, the secret to trading profits? Behavioral patterns, folks. You got to find them if you want to learn about them. If you want to have a shortcut, buy the core package. I'll show you how to do it. Otherwise, do your own research. Go in, and that's a good start to get started on looking at markets a little bit different. Get all those darn indicators off your chart. You don't need them. Behavior is exposed in the charts. You can see what people were doing. You can see what they're anticipating. You'll see them in the charts. Okay, so hopefully that is helpful. If you have any questions regarding my programs, just go to binaryprostrategies.com, shoot me an email. If you're interested in sign them up, just go to the Join Now. You can sign up for the core package. And also, we also have a live chat room. So when you do sign up, you're going to get a free week in the live chat room, so you can kind of see what the live chat room's about. It's huge to be. I think it's very important to be in the live chat room because you're going to see other successful traders, and you're going to pick up a lot of tidbits that are not taught on the videos, because every day is a little bit different, and there's certain situations that happen that I discuss and I talk about. Okay, so there's a lot of really good information that's shared in the chat room that you're just not going to pick up in the video, because there's just so much information. I've been doing this for 40 years, so I've got a lot to share with you guys, and I don't hold back. I tell you what I know about it. All right. So anyhow, I hope you all enjoy these videos. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe so I can keep you updated on new videos. I hope everybody have a great trading week. Just to let you know, I'm going to continue to stay with the Aussie US and the US yen. I'm going to continue to be short biased for the week, and we'll be back next weekend for our next weekly update. Good luck, good trading. Hope to talk to you soon.